It is exactly 3:15 a.m. In the modern world, this is the dead zone, the deeply depressing hour where only security guards, trauma surgeons, and people undergoing a massive existential crisis are awake. But out here, on the frozen, wind-swept steppes of the Pleistocene epoch, the concept of a clock hasn't even been invented yet. All you know is that it is pitch black. Your campfire is dying down to a dull, glowing red ember, and you are sitting on a jagged piece of flint with your eyes wide open. Your pupils are completely dilated. Your brain is firing off erratic neural signals like a short-circuiting radio communicator, and you couldn't force yourself to sleep if your life depended on it. Around you, the rest of your nomadic tribe, the calm, stable, highly organized gatherers, are fast asleep. They have been snoring peacefully for hours because their internal biological clocks work like a perfectly tuned, predictable machine. They spent their day happily sorting berries by color and counting edible roots, and their reward is a smooth, uninterrupted night of deep REM sleep. But you've been sitting here for 48 hours straight, running on nothing but pure, unadulterated adrenaline and the prehistoric equivalent of a lethal dose of caffeine. Your eyes have massive dark bags under them, your hair is an absolute disaster, and you are gripping a crude wooden spear with white knuckles. Your tribal elders think you are completely broken. Just yesterday, they yelled at you for zoning out while they explained the proper way to dry bison meat. They think you have a severe behavioral defect because you can't sit still during the weapon-making sessions, and your eyes are always darting toward the distant horizon. They call you a liability. But right now, in the pitch-black silence of the ancient night, that exact behavioral defect is the only thing standing between 50 sleeping humans and the razor-sharp teeth of a hunting pack of cave hyenas. Welcome to the ultimate graveyard shift of human history, a brutal landscape where the modern rules of psychological stability are completely turned upside down. In our comfortable, fluorescent-lit modern society, success is defined by your ability to sit in a cubicle for 8 hours a day, stare at a spreadsheet, fill out tax documents, and suppress every single urge to move or seek excitement. If your brain rejects this boring routine, if you constantly demand high-risk novelty, random dopamine spikes, and an immediate escape from predictable, repetitive tasks, modern medicine labels you as disabled. They hand you a prescription for stimulants, tell you to sit straight in your chair, and treat your mind like an evolutionary glitch that needs to be permanently patched out of existence. But if you take that exact same restless, hyper-reactive, chaotic brain and drop it 30,000 years into the past, you aren't a patient with a clinical condition. You are an absolute apex predator. You are the frontline elite of human survival. This is the cold reality of the evolutionary mismatch theory. It proves that the behavioral traits we currently diagnose as neurodevelopmental disorders were actually highly successful battle-tested adaptations designed for nomadic hunter-gatherers. For 99% of human history, having a hyper-vigilant mind wasn't a psychiatric symptom, it was a highly effective life insurance policy. Being highly impulsive wasn't a lack of discipline, it was a lightning-fast reaction speed that determined whether you ate a charging beast or got trampled into the dirt. When humanity abruptly abandoned the nomadic hunting lifestyle to embrace predictable agriculture and industrial labor, our physical environment changed in the blink of an eye. But human evolution moves at a glacial speed. The intense genetic architecture that kept our ancestors alive didn't just vanish, it got trapped inside an artificial maze of standardized testing, corporate hierarchies, and endless soul-crushing meetings. The very same traits that made you a legendary tracker on the African savanna are the exact reasons you currently can't finish a simple online task without opening 40 different browser tabs. Your mind isn't broken, it is just an ancient weapon built for high-stakes chaos, currently forced to operate inside a world that values nothing but quiet compliance. To understand how a prehistoric hunter with an extreme dopaminergic deficit trains for survival, you have to throw out every single concept of modern education. In the modern world, training is entirely passive, sterile, and slow. You are expected to sit still, absorb thousands of pages of text, and listen to an instructor drone on about abstract theories. For a brain with low baseline dopamine levels, this environment is literal psychological torture. The ADHD brain is chronically starved of dopamine, meaning it requires intense, high-stakes external stimulation just to reach the basic level of alertness that a neurotypical brain achieves while reading a standard instruction manual. Because of this, the ancient training ground for a hunter with hyperactive traits could never sit still long enough to watch an elder demonstrate the slow, tedious process of napping flint arrowheads for 6 hours straight. Their brains simply wouldn't allow it. Instead, their neurological system forced them to learn through high-intensity experiential immersion. They would immediately snatch up the raw stones, smash them together with reckless force, cut their hands open, shatter the materials, and rapidly iterate through failure after failure until their motor cortex mapped out the exact kinetic energy required to split the flint. The high-risk nature of the physical activity provided the exact surge of dopamine their neurological system required to lock down long-term muscle memory. They didn't memorize animal tracks from a safe distance. They chased wild game down steep ridges, leaped over dangerous ravines, and actively engaged with an unpredictable environment where a single mistake meant instant physical pain. This brutal, hands-on style of training naturally selected for individuals who could process massive amounts of raw environmental data simultaneously without getting bogged down by a single, narrow point of view. While a cautious neurotypical hunter trained to master a highly specific, repeatable path through a safe valley, the hyperactive hunter trained by testing dangerous boundaries, exploring risky ridges, and mapping out alternative escape routes based on pure, reckless curiosity. This intense need for novelty, which modern school systems punish as a total lack of discipline, was an invaluable tribal asset. If a nomadic clan stayed in one location for too long and relied on the exact same predictable food sources, a sudden environmental shift or a change in animal migration meant total starvation and extinction. The tribe desperately needed individuals whose brains actively revolted against predictability. People who were neurologically compelled to cross the dangerous swollen river, climb the forbidden mountain peak, and scout out entirely new hunting grounds simply because their brains could not handle the agonizing boredom of doing the same repetitive task 2 days in a row. They were trained by their own neurological discomfort to be the absolute vanguard of human expansion across the globe. Now, let's look at the absolute peak of human performance under extreme life or death pressure, the hunt. This is the exact moment where the chaotic, multi-tracking mind transforms from a modern academic disability into an unstoppable prehistoric superpower. Let's count down the top 10 specific symptoms of ADHD that functioned as elite survival mechanisms during the Stone Age, examining exactly how each trait turns a chaotic modern mind into an elite ancient force. First, consider diffuse attention, which modern psychologists dismiss as simple distractibility. In a modern classroom, getting distracted by a bird outside the window means you miss the algebra equation on the blackboard and fail your exam. But on a prehistoric hunt, keeping your eyes glued to a single predictable path is a fantastic way to get blindsided by a hidden predator. A hunter with diffuse attention doesn't possess a lack of focus. They possess an absolute inability to filter out peripheral sensory information. Their brain treats a shifting shadow, a snapped twig, a subtle change in wind direction, and a faint print in the mud with the exact same level of high immediate priority. In the dense, chaotic brush of the ancient wilderness, this lack of sensory filtering meant the hyperactive hunter noticed the tiny flick of a leopard's tail in the high canopy 2 seconds before anyone else even realized they were in danger. Their mind operated as a continuous 360-degree tactical radar system. While the hyper-focused gatherer was busy analyzing a single bush for edible berries, the easily distracted hunter was scanning the entire perimeter, keeping the entire tribe from being wiped out by a rival clan. Second is the powerful phenomenon of hyperfocus. Modern medicine loves to characterize ADHD as an absolute inability to pay attention, completely ignoring the fact that when an individual with this condition finds something intensely interesting, terrifying, or dangerous, their brain locks down like a high-security vault. In the Stone Age, when a tracker finally located the fresh, bloody footprint of a wounded mammoth, their brains stopped starving for dopamine and suddenly flooded the prefrontal cortex with an overwhelming wave of it. In an instant, the entire rest of the universe ceased to exist. The biting cold, the physical fatigue, the intense hunger, the passage of days, all of it was completely wiped from their consciousness. The hunter could track that dangerous animal for 30 miles through a blinding blizzard without ever stopping, completely dialed into the microscopic details of the trail, noticing broken blades of grass and faint scent trails that a normal human eye would completely overlook. This isn't a lack of focus, it's a weaponized situational hyperfixation that allowed primitive humans to hunt down prey through sheer, relentless psychological endurance. Third is high impulsivity. In the modern world, acting before you think gets you fired, sued, or thrown in jail. But in the Paleolithic era, thinking before you act made you a permanent part of the fossil record. When a cornered 200-pound wild boar suddenly charges out of the thicket directly at your chest, you do not have 3 seconds to weigh the pros and cons of an athletic retreat versus an aggressive counterstance. You do not have time to formulate a strategic plan with your peers or calculate your odds of survival. The neurotypical brain hesitates, processing the terrifying visual data through the slow, highly analytical pathways of the cortex. The impulsive brain skips the committee meeting entirely. The motor system fires instantly. Before the hunter even consciously registers the concept of danger, their body has already swung the heavy stone axe, thrown the javelin, or leaped completely out of the path of destruction. Impulsivity was the primitive equivalent of a biological short circuit that bypassed intellectual doubt, maximizing raw reaction speed when a millisecond delay meant a violent death. Fourth, we have chronic restlessness and hyperactivity. Modern children are told to sit still in their hard chairs for 7 hours straight, and if their legs twitch and they constantly need to pace around the room, they are viewed as a problematic disruption. In a nomadic society, that restless physical energy was the literal fuel that drove human migration across entire continents. A hyperactive individual has a much higher baseline metabolic urge to move. They don't view a 20-mile trek across a rugged, dangerous mountain range as an exhausting chore. Their body actively demands that level of intense physical output just to feel comfortable. While others wanted to settle down, build permanent shelters, and conserve energy, the hyperactive members of the clan were constantly pacing the perimeter, exploring the next valley, and keeping the entire tribe physically active and mobile. Their endless physical stamina made them the ideal long-distance endurance runners, capable of literally tracking and walking prey to death through persistent, unyielding movement. Fifth is sensation-seeking and high-risk tolerance. A brain that doesn't produce enough dopamine on its own will constantly seek out extreme external behaviors that trigger a massive neural release. Today, that translates to extreme sports, reckless driving, or dangerous gambling. In the Stone Age, it translated to volunteering for the most terrifying, high-stakes tasks necessary for tribal survival. Who is going to be the first person to crawl into a pitch-black, narrow cave system to see if a massive cave bear is hibernating inside? Who is going to volunteer to cross a roaring, swollen river to secure a guide rope for the rest of the vulnerable women and children? Who is going to lead the frontline charge against a rival tribe during a violent territorial dispute? It's not the cautious, risk-averse gatherer who values stability above all else. It is the dopamine-starved individual who feels completely alive only when their adrenaline is redlining at maximum capacity. This high-risk tolerance provided the tribe with a dedicated class of frontline scouts and warriors who were willing to face lethal uncertainty for the ultimate reward of survival and status. Sixth is rapid environmental adaptation and insomnia. The ADHD circadian rhythm is notoriously shifted. Many individuals are naturally nocturnal, finding themselves wide awake and highly creative late at night while struggling immensely to function in the early morning. In a modern corporate environment, being a night owl makes you chronically fatigued and unproductive. In the Stone Age, having a segment of the population that naturally experienced insomnia was an absolute evolutionary necessity. A tribe cannot survive if everyone falls asleep at 10 p.m. Someone has to keep the fire burning. Someone has to watch the dark tree line for the glowing eyes of predators. The nocturnal, hypervigilant individuals were the natural-born guardians of the night. Their inability to sleep wasn't a disorder. It was a specialized biological role that protected the vulnerable sleeping members of the tribe from nocturnal ambushes. Seventh is hyperreactive emotional systems. People with ADHD often struggle with emotional dysregulation, experiencing intense, sudden bursts of anger, frustration, or excitement that seem completely disproportionate to the situation. In a polite office setting, an explosive outburst is a career-ending disaster. But on an ancient battlefield or during a desperate confrontation with a pack of wolves, a sudden, overwhelming surge of raw primal fury is an immense physical advantage. The immediate activation of the fight or flight response floods the bloodstream with cortisol and adrenaline, instantly increasing muscle strength, deadening physical pain, and preparing the body for maximum violence in a matter of seconds. That explosive emotional reactivity was a survival switch that could be flipped instantly to terrify predators and overwhelm enemies in a brutal display of uninhibited aggression. Eighth is nonlinear problem-solving and divergent thinking. When presented with a standard problem, a neurotypical brain follows a logical, step-by-step, linear path based on past precedents. This is great for maintaining an established agricultural system, but it fails completely when faced with completely novel, chaotic crises. Because the ADHD brain struggles with executive function and working memory, it doesn't process information in a straight line. It makes bizarre lateral connections between seemingly unrelated concepts. In the Stone Age, when a sudden environmental collapse meant the traditional hunting methods no longer worked, it was the divergent thinker who suggested using animal bladders to carry water across a desert, or poisoning the tips of arrows with toxic frog skin, or setting fire to an entire valley to drive a herd of mammoths off a cliff. Their chaotic minds were natural innovation engines, generating radical, high-risk solutions when traditional methods failed. Ninth is a high tolerance for environmental chaos. A structured environment with strict rules, quiet rooms, and predictable routines actually causes a hyperactive mind to underperform and stagnate. However, when an environment becomes completely chaotic, such as during a sudden flash flood, a collapse of a cave dwelling, or a chaotic melee fight with a rival clan, the neurotypical mind often freezes, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of unpredictable, terrifying inputs. The ADHD brain, which spends its entire life dealing with internal neurological chaos, suddenly feels completely at home. The external world finally matches the speed of their internal mind. In moments of extreme crisis, these individuals often become eerie, highly effective leaders. While everyone else is panicking and screaming, the hyperactive individual becomes calm, decisive, and highly operational, swiftly navigating through the madness because their brain is custom-built to process high-velocity, unpredictable data streams. Tenth and finally, the need for constant novelty. The intense aversion to repetition and routine is the core defining feature of a dopaminergic deficit. In a modern economy built on specialized, repetitive labor, this is an economic death sentence. But in the primitive world, an obsession with novelty is what prevented human stagnation. A tribe that never changes its routine will eventually deplete its local resources, succumb to local diseases, or be outcompeted by more dynamic groups. The individuals who constantly demanded new sights, new challenges, and new methods were the ones who pushed humanity out of its comfort zone. They were the ones who looked at a vast, terrifying ocean and said, "Let's build a raft out of logs and see what's on the other side," simply because staying on the beach was too boring to tolerate. They were the evolutionary catalysts for human exploration and global colonization. So the next time you are sitting at a desk, staring at a screen, feeling completely overwhelmed by your inability to focus on a corporate presentation or a standardized test, stop telling yourself that your brain is inherently broken. Your brain is not a defective product of nature. It is an exquisitely engineered, highly specialized piece of ancient survival hardware that was designed to operate in an environment of maximum stakes, high adrenaline, and constant physical danger. You aren't malfunctioning. You are just an elite Paleolithic hunter-gatherer trapped inside a highly restrictive, artificial modern cage. You were built to survive the ultimate graveyard shift of human history, and the very traits you struggle with today are the exact reasons your ancestors survived long enough for you to be born. Stop trying to force your ancient mind to be a safe, predictable agricultural tool and start recognizing it for what it truly is, a prehistoric superpower.